What is up, everybody? Welcome back. In today's Escape from Tarkov audio tips video, we're going to be going over one of the most mind-boggling bugs lurking in Tarkov's audio we've found to date. Or maybe this is just another misconception that's fueled by the competitive spirit of our fellow Tarkov citizens. Before we get into my analysis, let's see what these people who've discovered this bug have to say.
Right? You hear less wind and shit? I'll have to turn it down now. Where's the wind? It's gone. The ambient sound gets increased way more than the footsteps do. It's not Call of Duty.
As it stands currently, having your overall volume above 70 will drastically increase the level of ambient noise in-game over other sound.
All you need to do is go into your in-game settings and change your overall volume. That is it. That is it. I will then compensate a little bit and turn up the Go XLR, so it's kind of the same volume as I'm used to. However, what it does is it changes the ambient volume rather than all the other volumes. If you turn your game volume down to about 60, 70 is the sweet spot, the difference is wild.
When it comes to sound, there are two things we really need to talk about here, and that's overall volume. You're going to want to have your overall volume at either 80 or 70. And the reason for that is when you lower your overall volume, it's going to dramatically reduce ambient noises. So think about like wind, like rain. When you have it on 100, it is so loud. When you take it to 80 or 70, only going down 20 or 30% on the notches, but it's going to lower those ambient noises by around 50 to 70% while not affecting things like gunshots or footsteps, right?
So a viewer approached me, Dr. Alex, with some of these clips asking if we could test this. I was immediately skeptical since volume control is such a basic function of a game. It seemed virtually impossible for this to be a thing any developer could get wrong. But Tarkov is a strange creation, so who knows, right? The most important part of what these streamers are claiming is that the overall volume slider somehow decreases the ambient noise disproportionately to the other noise in the game. Additionally, some of them are also claiming that when you simply increase your OS sound level to restore that which is lost from the overall decrease in Tarkov, and voila! Magically, you've reduced pesky ambient noise and amplified everything else, giving you a tactical advantage. Testing this was pretty simple and pretty fast. All we needed to do is verify the first claim, which is whether or not the overall slider somehow decreases that ambient at percentages other than what is listed on the slider. Before we get into the analysis, let's show you the testing we did using Spectralissimo and a virtual audio cable to measure decibels of ambient. Alright, so let me explain how we did the testing. The window in the bottom left is a measurement of the volume on each frequency in Tarkov. I've muted the audio also so that you can focus on the visual representation only, since at the lower levels the ambient is almost non-existent. We don't want any bias in the test, so we're only using visual representation for data to remove human perception errors, which is kind of what got us here in the first place, right? Each hash on the sides of the window, starting at -48 and then going down, represents approximately 1/3 of the audio volume, since at 100% we were close to that -48 dB average on the peaks. If these guys were at all correct, then we should see that audio level drop by 50% rather than 30% or something like that, as represented in that window. So this really weird thing happens when you adjust the overall volume setting in Tarkov. The volume goes down, all of it, proportionately. Shocking, I know, it actually works. Before you start saying that, well, there's some way that gunshots or whatever else could be affected, yes, we tested those too. In short, if you've been turning down your overall in-game, all you're doing is reducing your volume, which is fine. Tarkov ambient can be pretty grating, but you're not playing with the advantage you think you have. And worse, if you're going back through the extra step of adjusting the operating system volume to somehow compensate for something that isn't a thing, then all you're doing is using two different sliders to achieve the same outcome as using one. I mean, look, I get it. We're playing one of the most competitive video games on the planet. Everybody's looking for an edge, whether they admit it or not. It's just human nature. This can sometimes make it difficult not to latch onto a hypothesis presented by online personalities who are, quite frankly, supposed to know far more about the game than the average player, no matter how ridiculous they are at times. This is one of the most basic functions in any game, and it's virtually impossible to screw up in the manner they're describing. It's a volume slider. It's not netcode or a functional anti-cheat, it's a slider. See, it slides. All jokes aside, I hope this helps somebody out there in the worldwide interwebs, and don't believe everything you hear. If you want me to make an audio tips video that covers this in detail, let me know in the comments, but if you're digging through videos trying to find all sorts of EQ and compression settings and any sort of audio settings just to gain an edge, just stop. After all of the testing I've done, and trust me, it's a lot of testing, I can tell you this. Turn off all of your fancy EQs, turn off or minimize your compression, and get yourself a set of multi-driver IEMs. Then focus on the fundamentals of the game. Spend more time gaining map knowledge, watch a Desmond movement video, and practice point firing rather than assimilating content that promises an edge without proof of comprehensive testing, and you'll be far better off in the long run. If you want me to expand on my reasoning for not using EQs, compression, or standard headsets, or if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments below. Well, that's it. Happy raiding, everybody. Peace out.